Coming to layoffs, the theme as such, we've been seeing post-COVID, across the board, the larger companies, the smaller companies, the startups, everywhere you see a lot of layoffs and people actually struggling. So there are two questions. One is from a HR end, because we need to lay off because of a policy decision by the board members. There's not much control that the HR has at that point of time. How can we humanely lay off people? That's question number one. Secondly, what are your recommendations? What are your insights for people being ready in case a layoff happens? These are the two questions.
Yeah, so I think, I perhaps have been a little fortunate that I have not had the experience of conveying such bad news to people, or myself haven't gone through it. So I can just share what, my thoughts would be, and perhaps how I would have reacted and responded to a situation like this, which is fundamentally very unfortunate, right? I think from a HR lens perspective, before a board comes to a decision, I think HR needs to be involved in that decision in terms of how you're going to do it, right? Obviously, when the decision comes at a board level, there is data, there is, a lot of history and, thinking behind it. And I sincerely hope that the HR function is actively involved in it, because there are a lot of elements there which have to be, it's about people, right? So whether it's the way you look at treating people humanely, whether it's the way you look at giving them some financial buffer so that they can tide over at least for a few months, assuming that their business can afford that. I think these are some of the elements which need to get into the decision, right? The other piece is that, if you have a line of business which is completely being, closed down, then you probably can't take a call. But if it's some people in a particular line of business, I think how you decide or choose that set of people is important, right?
Yeah.
And most importantly, if you are taking a decision to shut down a business and hence, or, kind of reduce staff in a business and hence it's going to result in layoffs, I've always felt that it's good to kind of keep communicating to people. It shouldn't come as a sudden shock, right? I mean, I think the entire world knows that the situation in the job market is pretty grim, right? So I think it's important that you as a company keep communicating to your people as to what the business outlook is and what it might result in. I think that kind of transparency we owe to our people. Our people are not idiots. They understand. They just expect that the company is also transparent. Just think about it. Because of COVID, in some sense, COVID in a very perverse manner made us realize that, hey, we need to communicate more with our people. In one of the companies I worked in before, I think the CEO in those 2 years spoke probably 70% more than regular years with the last staff in the company. He would have never done it before. Why not? Why does it require COVID to kind of make us realize all this? So similarly, that communication, transparency, that, hey, this is coming our way. I know it's difficult because it kind of creates concerns in the organization. People might start looking out, and some of the good people that you don't want to lose might look out. But the transparency in communication and getting people ready that, there is bad news and why there is bad news. The other thing, Ravi, remember, sometimes companies unfortunately tend to jump on the bandwagon because everybody else is laying off, we'll also lay off. Or we'll reduce the benefit, right? I think my message to such companies is, employees, remember you when the times are bad and how they've been treated.
Absolutely.
Right? I think that's important. And I recall in 2007-8 when the IT sector wasn't doing well, we had some consultants come and tell us that, hey, you know what, why don't you reduce your learning budgets? Why don't you reduce some of the benefits? And fortunately, we could afford not to do it. But it would have been so easy to do it because everybody else was doing it.
Yes.
Right? And we stayed put and said that, no, we are privileged that we don't need to do it, and hence we will not do it.
Absolutely.
Right? And people remembered us for that.
Yes.
Right? So I think the fundamental thing is communicate well and enough in advance so that people are not shocked by sudden news impacting them. Be human in the way you treat people. So when you're having a conversation with someone, Let it not be a very abrupt conversation. There should be enough grace given to people in the conversation, and just not HR's job. I think even the business leaders should do it that way. And being open and upfront, I think, helps you build that credibility of why you are doing what you are doing.
Absolutely.
I think the what everyone knows,
Yeah.
the why, and how the company is enabling you in this tough situation.
Yes.
These are things which I genuinely believe would go a long way. It will never reduce the impact because somebody is losing a job, but it will definitely ease the impact and give that person that respect, that, hey, you know what, and the value that, this is something which the company didn't have any other choice, but they're doing it gracefully.
Yeah.
Right? Tell me how many companies you've heard this, because this is a topic that is being discussed in so many forums. 8 out of 10 companies don't do a good job. Right? And all the credibility and trust you're built as a company goes away in that 15-minute conversation when you're asking someone to leave because you've not done it in a manner which you could have done.
Absolutely.
Right? So taking that ownership is very important in my view. The other part is, from an employee perspective, I think it's important that you don't stop learning. I think you need to continuously see how you can evolve in terms of your capabilities, whether functionally or behaviorally, because you never know. I mean, if you are very, very complacent with what you are doing, then and especially if it's a role that is very, very SOP driven, right? Remember that job might go one day. A bot will take over that job,
Yes.
right? So on one hand, there are jobs being lost, but remember that there are jobs being created as well, right? Now, to do those jobs, you need to upskill yourself. And sometimes the companies might not be able to give you their infrastructure, so it's up to you.
Yes.
I mean, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody who is an IIM Calcutta graduate, right? Very strong experience in a particular function, and he's looking for a job, right? So the scenario is not good. So I think it's important that you continue to build capabilities. You continue to be not comfortable in your zone that you've been in the last few years, and try to reinvent yours. It's easier said than done. It's very easy to, for you and me to discuss this.
True.
But, I think that urge to reinvent yourself, the urge not to be comfortable in what you're doing, I think it's very important to build as an attitude and, have it in the DNA of you as a professional.